Hi everyone, this is Jim Kozak from the Davie Resource Group's IT Services Department. In this installment of the Treekeeper 8 video tutorial series, we're going to cover a short video tutorial on calls. We'll do a data search, we'll add a call to a site, we'll add a caller, and then we'll add calls to multiple sites. In the last video, we covered the preparation work that you have to do in the administration center to make sure that the information that you need in the call drop-down boxes were there. So let's go ahead and get started. In the Treekeeper system, to find a site, all I will do is, let's just say that we have a caller that calls in about a particular site. We'll say that they're calling in about 919 Catlin Court. And so I'll go ahead and put 919 in the address, and to isolate that address, I'll go ahead and put 919 in both the from and the to address. And then I'll go down to street and I'll start typing in Catlin. That'll autocomplete for me, and I'll hit search. So the system will zoom me down in to the closest extent that I can see that site that I've searched for. I can bring up the site matches screen. Here I can switch between sites, calls, work, and work orders to see if anything is scheduled for the site, which I typically recommend doing because there's a chance that if Mrs. Smith or Mrs. Jones called in this morning, maybe Mr. Jones called in a little bit earlier and there could already be a call associated to that site. But either way, you have as much information as you can at your fingertips. So if I were on the phone with the caller, I could switch over and I can sort of look at the history of what's gone on at that site. Another way I could do that same thing is I could open up the view site screen, and I can view the species information, the site information, the risk related information. I could also view whether there's any calls logged to the site or any work logged to the site. To add a call to the site, I can see that there's no calls. I'll simply add a caller. If the caller has called in before, like if Jim Kozak, I could go ahead and type Kozak and that'll autocomplete for me. If a caller hasn't called in before, I can go ahead and add that information. So we'll go ahead and say that Deb Smith is calling in. We'll get the caller's address. So that's important to understand about the add call form, is that it's not always going to be the resident of that property that calls in. It could be somebody driving by, it could be the tenant, it could be a neighbor. So you always want to get the information of the person calling in. So we'll say that Deb Smith is at 295 South Water Street. That's in Kent, Ohio. And the zip code is 44240. All of these fields are not necessarily required because a lot of times a caller won't give their complete information, but get as much information as you can. All right, so I'm going to slide down a little bit here, and I'm going to add telephone number if the caller will provide it, email address if the caller will provide it. And in this case, we're going to say that it is the owner of the property calling in. The reason that she's calling in is for a service request. And she's going to say that the trees need to be pruned because she can't walk her dog. Now, and I'm going to go ahead and add a priority. I'm going to say this is a medium priority. You'll notice that the call taken by and the call date are automatically populated. So I'm going to go ahead and hit submit, and that is a call logged to that site. Now, if I wanted to add calls to multiple sites, let's go ahead and run another example of adding a call. So here I'm going to say that Mr. Kozak is calling in about 915 Catlin Court, and I'll go ahead and hit search. So I can see that, the system moves me over to 915 Catlin Court. There's two sites highlighted. I can go ahead and view my site matches screen. I can view the calls. I can view the work orders. I'm going to switch over to the site screen. I'm going to select both of the sites, and I'm going to select add a call. So this is going to be the exact same thing that we just did with 919, where we added one. We're going through one call form, but we're adding the call to multiple sites. So in this case, I'm going to say that it's Mr. Kozak calling in, and that'll autocomplete for me. I'll choose a reason, which is a service request, priority. We'll call this medium, call taken by, and call date are filled out. And then I'll go ahead and type in a comment based on my discussion with Mr. Kozak. And I'll hit submit. And so that is how you log a call to multiple sites. So we just covered finding a site, logging a call to a single site, and we just discussed finding a site and logging a call to multiple sites. So it doesn't matter how many sites you have in your site matches screen. By selecting the select all, you would be able to add calls to as many sites as you like. So that's a quick tutorial on adding calls. Stay tuned for the next tutorial, which is on adding work records and to a single site and adding work records to multiple sites. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next video.